Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on Top Marketers, the multi housing news podcast where we explore the minds shaping multifamily marketing. I'm your host, Corina Stef, and today we're diving headfirst into the immersive world of multifamily media. I'm thrilled to be joined by Izzy Carunungan, industry principal at Yardi and former chief marketing officer at LCP Media. With a marketing career that goes back to 2005, Easy brings a rare dual perspective, having led high level marketing efforts on both the property management and vendor side, helping to elevate visual media solutions across the industry. Today, we'll unpack some of the most exciting innovations in the space, talk about what renters really want from virtual content, and explore how marketers can integrate immersive tools into their digital playbook, both practically and powerfully. Izzy, thank you for being here. I'm so glad we could connect and that you accepted my invitation to zoom out, zoom in, and walk through the future of multifamily. No goggles needed this time.
Thank you for having me. This is my favorite topic, and I'm really excited about having this conversation with you.
To kick things off, can you tell us about your background and what led you into the immersive marketing space? And what does immersive marketing mean to you in today's multifamily world?
Yes, of course. So my name's Izzy Carunungan. I've been in multifamily for about 20 years. I know I'm dating myself. Majority of my time and experience in multifamily has been on the property management side. I've worked with companies like Bozzuto and Greystar in a marketing senior role capacity. But for the last 3 years, I made the move to the supplier side with LCP Media that has since been acquired by Yardi, overseeing the marketing strategy for LCP. And LCP is a visual media company that does work on anything from virtual tours to renderings to professional photography. And it's such a good fit for me because personally, I am a professional photographer. And so it marries the two passions that I have: marketing and photography and visual media. But to talk about immersive marketing real quick, I know it's really become a buzzword in the industry. And in multifamily, immersive marketing is really about bridging the gap between digital browsing, and it's using technology like 3D tours, interactive floor plans, interactive site maps, or neighborhood exploration tools, to let renters experience a property on their own terms at their own time, at their own pace, before they even schedule a tour. And really, even after the property visit as a follow up, right? It's really
Right.
more than just visual. So it's about emotional engagement. Immersive marketing helps renters feel what life for them could be in that space, and not just seeing it. They can envision themselves living there.
Now that you mentioned the emotional level, how is immersive media helping brands foster stronger connections with their prospective residents?
Virtual tools have come a long way, or really immersive media has come a long way. It has evolved over time. The renter journey, when searching for an apartment, is mostly static. It's linear, right? They'll do searches based on how far it is from their work or family, and then they drill down into the properties, and then they drill down into usually floor plan type: one bedroom, one bath, two bedrooms, etc., etc. It's very linear, right? But what has come of it over the years is now they're able to actually put themselves into specific apartments or specific units through these fully interactive walkthrough experiences, right? So they're not just looking at amenities and common spaces at the property, but they can actually put themselves in the actual apartments online with an immersive experience. And I think that's really valuable for the multifamily industry to be able to have that capacity, because it helps the prospect qualify themselves on identifying which spaces, which apartments they're really interested in, and inversely, may not be interested in even before they visit the property. So the iteration of virtual tours being more immersive, going into the unit level, and also integrating features like virtual staging, where it's an empty unit, but you can actually virtually stage it with furniture, or integrating live chat or video calls into the virtual tour, where leasing agents can guide the prospects in real time and they can walk the unit. So those of enhancements with the immersive experience has come into play over the last few years.
Beyond virtual tours, what other immersive tools are leading multifamily marketers using, and why are they gaining traction now?
COVID has changed consumer behavior. When prospects are unable to physically visit the property, what do they do? They have to go online and do their search that way, but also they wanted to experience the property online because they can't go to the properties. So immersive visual media has become a must. Beyond virtual tours, we're looking at interactive site maps, where it's tied to availability, where it's called the site maps color coded, where if the unit's available, it's colored one way and you can click on it and it takes you to a virtual tour of that specific unit. A whole bunch of lifestyle video reels are very effective, especially in the age of Instagram and TikTok. Self-guided tour technology are all gaining ground. My favorite is like drone footage, for example. Shooting footage from high up puts the property in context with the neighborhood, especially if you have shopping or retail around that neighborhood. So drone is a great way to have that relationship with the property. So it gives the prospect a sense of what the surrounding community is, right? All of those things are very helpful in multifamily marketing, and that's why it's gaining traction, because the consumers are really expecting to have all of this information and visual media available to when they're trying to make that decision.
What kind of immersive experiences are renters actually responding to? And what's just digital noise at this point?
Immersive content is really solving the decision fatigue problem. Renters are typically overwhelmed with options and static listings, so they all blur together. If you're looking for an apartment, you're not just looking for one or searching for one apartment. You're looking at multiple options, different properties within the location that you're looking at, right? But with immersive content, it grabs your attention, it builds your trust, and again, you're bridging the gap between the online walkthrough experience and the actual decision making of which property do I actually really want to see in person, right? And then eventually live in. And so immersive content helps teams qualify leads more efficiently by giving prospects the tools to self-educate by learning more about the property online. So you're essentially pre-touring them before the in-person tour actually happens. So that leads into more qualified leads. That means more meaningful and conversion-ready appointments. And your lead-to-lease conversion really does go up because the prospect has already made the determination based on their online immersive experience what unit they want to see when they do visit a property, or what units they don't want to see. And so for the leasing team, it's more efficient that way.
Why is immersive content becoming such a key part of the leasing strategy today? What pain points is it solving?
So the pain points it's really solving, in a lot of ways, it's eliminating or lessening the noise. When you're looking at multiple properties, you have to be able to narrow down which properties you want to visit and which properties you would want to live in, right? And so by having all these online immersive experiences, you're able to narrow down your list from 5, 7, 10 property down to one or two based on this immersive experience of that noise of having to I can't physically visit 10 properties, but now with immersive content, I can now narrow it down to one or two and be more efficient that way.
Can you share a real example where VR or 3D media directly supported leasing goals, or help move the needle for a client?
Yeah, definitely. So at LCP Media, we developed a case study with a major property management company on a lease property in Austin, Texas. And what we did was we shot all 311 units in that property, brand new construction, and we shot unit level tours for every single unit. And then we did a study over a year's time and compared the results of their leasing efforts for that property and compared it to a similar property in the same submarket in Austin, also lease up, that did not have virtual tours, right? And the results was pretty staggering, to be honest. That property that had unit level virtual tours saw a 40% uptick in lead generation compared to the other property, 72% more leases, and
Wow.
38% higher lead to lease conversion during the lease phase. So those numbers are really telling. And this is what I was explaining earlier in terms of prospects really pre-qualifying themselves before they even pick up the phone or they set an appointment, right, to the property. It's because they're already having these online immersive experiences. And so they're really narrowing down their list, not just list of properties they want to visit, but actual units within the property, right? Because you may have 10 units of the same floor plan type, same one bedroom, one bath layout, right? But they're in different floors, they have different views, they may have different finishes, right? And so now with unit level virtual tours, they're able to say, oh, I really love unit 101. And so when they visit the property, I want to see unit 101, right? I don't want to see unit 302. And so that really leads into these higher conversions, and they're already pre-qualified themselves in a lot of ways.
Have you seen expectations shift when it comes to property websites or listings? How is immersive media helping meet or even shape these expectations?
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, COVID really did change consumer behavior, and that hasn't changed since then. Renters now expect immersive content when they do visit your website or when they're looking at your listings and internet listing sites, right? Or other marketing channels that they're visiting. They want to be able to experience the property, the common spaces, the amenities, and even down to the unit level online before they really even visit the property. That is really the key. Consumer behavior is the one driving this. This is now the expectation. And that's why that case study is so important, because it tells us, like, okay, look at all these results that we got from having a property do immersive content versus a property that do not. And it's not even close. The numbers are so different between the two that it's really hard to argue now that, oh no, we can get away with not having this type of content. It's
Yeah.
it's a must have. It's not a nice to have anymore. You have to have it because that's what the consumers are looking for.
If you had to predict, how close are we to immersive experiences becoming a standard expectation rather than a nice to have in apartment marketing?
I honestly think that time is now. You're gonna get left behind if you don't do this. And this is really what us at LCP Media has been really preaching to our clients and our customers, or this property management company, or developers, or owners, or operators. This is what the consumers are looking for. This is what your renters are looking for. And if you don't have it, they're just gonna move on to another, your competitor or another property that has this type of content, right? Because they want to experience it. They want to see for themselves, okay, this particular unit type, this particular apartment, I'm looking at the pool, or I'm looking at this view, or I'm looking at its, or even drone content where, oh, I can walk to retail, or even simple things like, oh, is this unit even available? And I can see it through an interactive site map. And so those are the things that that the property should have when marketing their properties, because this is what the consumers are looking for. They want to do it at their own time, they want to do it at their own pace, and they want to be able to see it online before they engage with you, setting an appointment or actually visiting the property.
What
Yeah.
immersive or interactive trends do you think are about to break through in multifamily?
Yeah, again, consumer demand is really the one driving a lot of these things, right? I can see gamification, for example, coming into play, like interactive scavenger hunts within the tours. It will boost engagement and retention. I can see augmented reality for things like decorating your unit or doing your move-ins, for example. The metaverse style tools, I feel like that's probably still early stage. In my mind, the metaverse really hasn't, caught on, at least in the multifamily space. So it's in infancy, but it may evolve to serve a clear need, community engagement or resident onboarding. So that could be a niche for the metaverse. The opportunities are there, but it has to solve a problem, not just look cool. That's the key.
Course, makes sense. I was actually meaning to ask you what's your stance on augmented reality, but I think it's still, we're in the early stages.
I think it's still very much in the early stages, but with everything else, right? It's a matter, testing what works and what doesn't work. And of course, again, going back to the consumer demand, is there a demand for it? And like I said, is it solving a problem? Is it helping them visualize the space and envisioning themselves to live in there? Because at the end of the day, multifamily marketing is not that difficult, right? It's actually pretty simple. We're trying to lease apartments and we're trying to serve up the best matches of apartments to whatever the prospects are looking for, right? And so this immersive content helps bridge that gap and having them help experience online. So I think there's a lot in the horizon, and hopefully we don't have another COVID to have a change in consumer behavior. But these things change all the time. When the iPhone came out, that changed consumer behavior tremendous. Where it's no longer just doing marketing for a desktop computer. Now you have to do mobile marketing. So all
Right.
these consumer behaviors change over time. And so I can see, being the same in the multifamily space.
And what about marketers looking to get started? What's a smart first step towards integrating VR into their strategy?
Yeah, simple things like really focus on your visual media content, right? Make sure that you have, really good professional photography. Make sure that you have virtual tours, both in the property level and really on the unit level. That's all available now. You can look into interactive site maps. So there's all these tools now available today that they really should be deploying because it enhances the spec journey, right? And that's really what you're trying to do is make the prospects more educated about the place they want to live in. So I would, if you're starting now, I would definitely just start looking at all your visual media, your property websites, your marketing channels you have, and make sure you have the right immersive visual media content.
So, baby steps.
Yes.
Oh, thanks so much for all these valuable insights, Izzy. And thanks again for the great conversation and for giving us a true 360-degree walkthrough of your vision.
Absolutely. I like that. 360, no pun intended. But no, thank you for having me, Karina. I really appreciate it.
And that concludes this episode of Top Marketers from MHN. Many thanks to Izzy for the thoughtful conversation and to you, our listeners, for joining us. I'll see you next month, and until then, please be sure to subscribe and follow us on your preferred podcast platform or YouTube. Fresh insights and bold strategies are just around the corner. Stay tuned.